This is my JavaScript function in which I created a live chat feature in which electricians can choose between getting assistance between two different options. The first one I have for my pensum is debugging. I have this in the form of console log. This is mainly for testing purposes to let me know if my code is running smoothly or not in my inspect function in my website. So for example, if my open button is clicked but something's wrong, it will let me know. Next is my variable and types. We have this in the form of const. These are things I have in my code that are of constant value. For example, my automated messages, they do not change regardless of anything. And I have that when you open the chat box, you'll be greeted with that at all times. For my operators, I have, for example, in my add message function, where we use the plus sign, the addition sign, to put together strings. So these can be my messages, the automated messages that you get, the messages you get from choosing an option, and the messages you send yourself. So depending on what you choose and what you don't, you get the things according to what you did, and my code will figure out what to do next. For arrays, we have our automated messages, like I mentioned before. For example, like, hi, how can we help you? These are just like my data, or like not my data. These are just things that are constant, and these are like my data. Yeah, my data centers. So yeah, it's like the brain in my text. Yeah. For if else, we have it performing on different tasks based on different conditions. So this can be if the user input is not empty before adding it into the chat. So if they don't press an option, then they can't send something in the chat. But if they do press an option, then they can send something in the chat. So it's conditional. For loops, I have a function for that, and a loop thing for of. So regardless if you close and open your chat as many times, you have this automated messages and the messages you've sent yourself on loop the whole entire time. So it's essentially like a chat history. Unless you refresh the page, then it's all gone, but it's on loop for as long as you need it to be. For objects, I just have things that are related of data with each other. So this can be my Thomas user thing, in which I used a name and role properties to assign these objects, and I use this for testing purposes. Yeah. For DOM, I have it allows me, for example, to get the information from my index HTML, and for example, it would be things such as my button to open and close the live chat, but also to close and open. So not like completely like send and choose the options. Yeah, sorry. For functions, I have it throughout my whole code, but particularly I have it on add message and enable user input. And these create a message based on the elements that I've had. So if you press an option, then you can add a message, and then that's a enable user input because you've chosen an option. For variable scope, I have both local and global. My global one can be seen through automated messages because that can be accessed throughout the whole code, and it happens regardless and is not dependent on another code happening. But a local scope will be message div and add message because it depends on an option being chosen. So therefore it is local because it cannot be accessed, or it cannot be triggered by anything else. And lastly, for events, I have, for example, this event listener. These handles different events, for example, such as open chat when the button is clicked, and closing the chat and pressing the different options, and hiding the container, and all those little things that open and make the chat functional.